Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today. Chapter 274-273. Going Home Defeated. Above the blood-soaked streets, the wind shrieks as wings beat against the smoke. Suddenly, Muv dives from the sky, her staff glowing faintly, her other arm gripping Valira around the waist before the young lady can protest. The ground falls away beneath them, the battlefield shrinking into a whirl of chaos below. Retreat! Muv's voice cracks as she shouted, her hair whipping violently in the wind. Ash-Edge warriors, fall back! The order ripples like thunder through the battlefield. What remains of the Ash-Edge formation begins pulling away, some limping, some dragging wounded kin, others covering the retreat with bloodied blades. Their disciplined withdrawal is nothing short of miraculous amid the collapse. Valira thrashes against Muv's hold, her voice sharp with fury. Muv, what are you doing? Why are we retreating? Put me down this instant. Muv's grip only tightens, her tone harsh, carrying the weight of command. Lady Valira, it's our defeat this time. Look around you. She gestures with a jerk of her head, her eyes narrowing against the smoke. Our warriors are dying fast. Do you want to kill every last one who came here for you? Valira's retort dies in her throat. Her eyes sweep below. The city is gone. Flames climb like serpents from broken houses. The inner walls have crumbled, monsters pouring through like a flood. Her clansmen, her people, are cut down one after another, their courage swallowed by sheer numbers. Her anger falters, her voice small now. This. But then her gaze, frantic and searching, freezes. Amidst the sea of monsters, moving with calm precision, she spots a familiar silhouette. Valira's breath catches. That face, that aura. Carnessa. Her mind stalls, disbelief crashing through her like ice water. No! Her lips tremble, sound barely escaping. Why is she here? Carnessa, once shy and silent, now moves across the battlefield like a seasoned killer. She cuts down Ash-Edge warriors with a face as steady and cold as stone. Valira's thoughts whirl, stumbling, breaking. She was his slave. Alex's, a monster bound to him. She should always be at his side unless... The realization hits her like a blade to the chest. Unless Alex let her go. Or Alex died. Valira's vision blurs, her mind flooding with panic. No, not possible. Not him. Just imagining Alex dead makes her chest tighten. Her body sees, her mind blank. She doesn't even hear Muv's voice calling her name over the wind. Valira's lips move soundlessly as she stares at Carnessa. Impossible. Her heart pounds in her ears, louder than the battlefield, louder than the screams, louder than the fire. Smoke rolls across the ruins of Lefast like a living thing, curling through broken stone and shattered gates. The clash of steel has thinned to scattered cries, the desperate roars of men who refuse to yield. The Ash-Edge warriors are gone, pulled back by Muv's command. What remains on the streets are the last soldiers of Lefast, backs pressed against the ruins of their own city. Hold the line! A battered captain shouts, his arm bleeding freely, sword trembling in his grip. For Lefast! For the kingdom! A dozen voices rise with him, ragged but fierce. They form a thin wall of shields and spears, eyes blazing with hopeless defiance. The monsters crash into them like a tide. Claws rake against shields, fangs bite into steel, and spells light up the night. One by one, the defenders fall. A soldier screams as he's dragged down, his blood painting the stones. Another breaks rank, only to be caught by a winged beast that tears him apart midair. Still, they fight. I won't run. One soldier bellows, hacking through a monster's throat before a spear pierces his chest. This is our city. His words cut short in a gurgle as he collapses. The captain staggers, shield splitting in two beneath a monstrous hammer strike. He looks around. The men who stood with him moments ago are either dying, already dead, or thrown to the ground in surrender. Monsters circle the last cluster of defenders. Some soldiers drop their weapons, raising their trembling hands. Others glare with tear-streaked faces, choosing death over shame. Drop your blades. A monstrous voice snarls, reverberating through the street. Those who yield live. Those who resist feed the earth. A few weapons clatter to the ground. Others cling tightly until they're ripped from cold, lifeless fingers. The captain coughs blood, falling to his knees. His sword slips from his hand, clinking against stone. His last words are hoarse but steady. "Forgive me, Lafast." Claws tear through him. Silence follows. The final defenders of Lafast are gone, slain or shackled. Above the burning ruins, a monstrous standard rises. The banner of Erevaris unfurls against the smoke, its colors stark against the flames. Lafast city has fallen. Inside Lafast, the fires still roar, but the screams have dulled into silence. The battle is over. Outside the broken walls, Nasara, Thurn, and Vertha stand like dark sentinels, their voices carrying authority as they direct the monsters. Some pile the corpses into heaps, others drag prisoners into pens, while the rest scour the streets for anything of value. The city is theirs, and their discipline ensures the conquest doesn't descend into chaos. Soren moves apart from them, her cloak brushing ash and blood, as she leads a dozen hulking monsters through the ruined avenues. Their heavy steps make the cracked stone groan, their eyes burning faintly as they follow her every gesture. The city lord's residence looms ahead, half-charred but still standing. Its gate lies torn from its hinges, the courtyard littered with broken guards. Soren wastes no time, striding into the grand hall, down the corridor, and finally into the reinforced chamber beneath the manor, the safe chamber. The heavy doors are already split open. Inside, the air smells of oil, dust, and gold. Piles of coins glimmer in the torchlight, spilling from overturned chests. Weapons and trinkets lie scattered on the shelves, relics and heirlooms of generations past. Soren sweeps her gaze over it all with calm detachment, her eyes narrowing slightly. She raises a hand and gestures to the monsters. "Take all the gold coins," she orders, her voice clipped and commanding. "Carry them back to the main camp. Every chest, every pouch. Don't leave a single coin here." The monsters obey instantly, lumbering forward to gather the treasure. The sound of clinking metal fills the chamber as heavy claws scoop up wealth beyond measure. One of the lesser beasts hesitates, staring at a rack of ornate weapons glittering with enchantments. Soren notices and speaks sharply, cutting the air. "Leave the rest." Sir Gander's orders were clear: gold first. Nothing else matters until it's secured. She walks over to a chest, brushing her gloved fingers through the pile of coins. Her tone drops into something resembling thought, half to herself, half to the monsters. "There's only over 200,000 here," she says flatly. "Not that much, considering the size of this city." Her eyes flick toward the shelves, lingering on a gem-studded crown and a staff wrapped in silver. Some of these items could fetch far more than a chest of coins. A few days later, the carriage rattles along the stone road, its wheels heavy with silence. Inside, Valira sits with her back stiff, hands clenched tightly in her lap. Across from her, Muv rests with her staff propped against her shoulder, her eyes half-lidded but weary, not with sleep, but with the weight of command. Outside, rows upon rows of warriors march beside the carriage. 30,000. Once, 100,000 strong had set out from Ash Edge with banners high and voices proud. Now only a fraction returns, limping, scarred, bandaged, hollow-eyed. Their armor is dented, their clothes torn, many leaning on spears like crutches. The gates of Ironvale creak open, and the city comes alive. People crowd the streets, flags waving, children perched on shoulders, families pressing forward with eager eyes. A cheer rises. They've returned. Victory. The Ash Edge stands strong. The voices boom like thunder, echoing across stone walls. But then, silence begins to spread, slow, uneasy. The cheering falters as the crowd sees their warriors clearly. No proud march, no lifted heads. Just broken men and women moving like shadows. A boy tugs at his mother's dress. "Mama, why are they so quiet?" The woman's smile falters. She sees the bloodstains, the torn banners, the haunted gazes. Her voice breaks. "Because they've lost." Chapter 275-274. To the Ash Edge clan. In the carriage, Valira lifts the curtain, her eyes burning as she sees the faces of her people shift from joy to dread. Cries ripple through the crowd as families search the ranks. "Where is my husband? My son? Where is he? Lyra! Lyra, answer me!" A woman collapses to her knees, clutching her baby as she wails, the warrior she searched for nowhere in sight. A boy screams his brother's name until his voice cracks. Valira's chest tightens. Her lips tremble. She whispers, almost to herself, "They were waiting for heroes." Her hands ball into fists. "And we brought them ghosts." Muv exhales, her voice low but steady. This is the truth of war, Lady Valira. Glory lasts a moment. Grief lasts a lifetime. Valira turns sharply to her, pain and anger mingling in her voice. Then what do I tell them? That their husbands, their sons, their daughters, died for nothing? Muv meets her eyes, silent for a moment. Then she says, calm but firm. You tell them their kin fought with courage, that they held the line when no one else would, that without their sacrifice, not even these 30,000 would be alive to come home. Valira swallows hard. Her gaze drifts back to the crowd, where grief spreads like wildfire, swallowing the cheers that once filled the air. The carriage rolls on, and Iron Vale is no longer filled with celebration. Only the sound of weeping. Valira's room is quiet, lit only by the warm glow of a single lantern on her desk. The heavy curtains are drawn, shutting out the night. She sits on the edge of her bed, still dressed in her travel-worn clothes, her armor discarded in the corner. Her hands tremble faintly in her lap as she stares at the floor, replaying the march through Iron Vale over and over again. The door creaks open. Valira, her mother, Sazafa, steps inside. But she is not as Valira remembers. The years of wear and exhaustion have peeled away, replaced by a youthful glow. Her figure is steady, her eyes sharp, her voice carrying the strength of one who has broken through to Tier 5. Her dark hair shimmers like silk, her skin smooth and radiant, and for a moment, Valira almost doesn't recognize her. I heard what happened, Sazafa says softly, crossing the room. Valira's chest tightens. She lowers her head and whispers, Mother, I'm a failure. Sazafa sits beside her without hesitation and pulls her into a gentle embrace. My child, she murmurs, stroking Valira's hair. Don't blame yourself. What happened was not your fault. Valira's voice cracks. How can you say that? I led them out, and I brought back only ashes. Sazafa's hand lingers on her daughter's shoulder, steady and warm. Can I tell you a story? Valira lets out a hollow laugh, trying to mask her grief. Are you going to tell me about you and Father's adventures again? Mom, I've heard them 100 times. Sazafa chuckles softly, her laughter youthful again, echoing like it once did years ago. Perhaps, but stories carry truths we forget. Valira turns to look at her, but her mother only smiles, her eyes bright. Then Sazafa tilts her head, a teasing note in her voice. Or maybe you'd rather tell me about that Alex boy. Did you two find each other again? At once, Valira's face falls. Her breath catches, and she looks away, her throat tight. The silence in the room grows heavy. I found Carnessa, Valira finally says, her voice soft. On the battlefield. Sazafa blinks, surprised. Oh, his monster slave? The words hang in the air, and Valira doesn't answer, her expression shadowed. Realization flickers across Sazafa's face. She places a gentle hand on her daughter's cheek. I'm sure he'll be fine, she says firmly, her tone shifting to reassurance. You said it yourself before. That boy is powerful. Valira closes her eyes, a tear slipping down her cheek. I want to believe that. Sazafa draws her into another embrace, holding her tightly as though she could shield her from the weight of the world. My child, she whispers. Hope is sometimes the only weapon we have left. Don't let it go. The next morning, Iron Vale does not wake in peace. The alarm bell tolls, its harsh clangor tearing through the dawn like a blade. Horns join the chorus, low and urgent, reverberating across the walls and towers of the city. Soldiers rush through the streets, dressed in armor, weapons clattering in their hands. Civilians push against each other in panic, children crying as families scramble for safety. Valira jolts awake in her chambers. The sound is unlike the bells of ceremony or drills. This is the sound of invasion. Without hesitation, she throws open her window and leaps into the sky. The cold morning wind bites against her face as she rises, flying toward the city's outer wall. From above, she sees the chaos below. Soldiers forming ranks at the gates, banners flapping, archers rushing to their posts, while Tier 4 and Tier 5 warriors gather like storm clouds on the battlements. On the high walls, she spots her father. Velkane stands tall, his long coat whipping in the wind, a massive blade resting casually against his shoulder. Around him, Muv and 2 other Tier 6 warriors of the Ashedge clan wait with grim expressions. Their presence is heavy enough to make the air seem to thrum. Valira lands beside them, her boots striking stone. Father, she calls, her voice strained. What is happening? Velkane doesn't turn immediately. His gaze is fixed far beyond the walls, his sharp eyes narrowing at the horizon. Only when Valira steps closer does he speak, his voice low, carrying the weight of steel. The monsters, he says. They're moving this way. Iron Vale may be their next target after Watervale's fall. Valira looks past them, straining her sight. At first, there is only the pale haze of morning mist. Then, like an ink stain spreading across paper, the horizon darkens. A massive tide of movement, shifting and endless, begins to take form. Her breath catches. That can't be. Velcane lifts his blade, the air shivering faintly around its edge. It can. 1,000,000 soldiers, he says grimly. An army of monsters. The others, seasoned Tier 6 warriors hardened by decades of war, say nothing. Their silence speaks louder than any words. Valira grips her fists so tightly her knuckles turn white. 1,000,000, against us? Against this city? Her father finally turns to her, his gaze sharp but calm, steady as stone. Do not falter, Valira. Fear spreads faster than fire. If you show weakness, the men will see it. And if they see it, Ironvale will fall before the first strike. Valira swallows hard, forcing her trembling legs to still. She nods, her voice firm despite the storm inside her chest. I understand. Velcane lowers his blade, pointing it toward the seething tide of monsters in the distance. His eyes narrow, a glint of cold recognition in them. Leading them, he says, his tone sharp, is still Mazel. His wounds are already healed. Valira stiffens. The name is enough to chill her blood. Mazel. Velcane nods once, his gaze never leaving the advancing army. That's the monster that killed Kore. Valira's breath hitches. Clan leader Kore, she was a very powerful Tier 6. How could? Velcane cuts her off, his voice heavy with restraint. I did some digging after her death. The reports claim Kore used a forbidden technique, one that pushed her strength beyond the limits. They say she reached Quasi, Tier 7 in that fight. Ma frowns, arms crossed. Quasi, Tier 7? She shakes her head slowly. That's nearly impossible. Even the Empire has no such method. If it did exist, they'd have already conquered another continent. Valira's eyes dart between them, confusion and dread mixing in her chest. Then it's false? She couldn't have risen that high. Velcane exhales through his nose, his tone grim. More likely, she reached peak Tier 6. That's the limit of what any forbidden art I know can achieve. Enough to burn your life away for a temporary surge. But still. His hand tightens on the hilt of his blade. Even at her peak, she died by Mazel's hand. One of the other Tier 6 warriors, an older man with scars across his face, mutters under his breath. If a peak Tier 6 can't even wound him, then what are we standing on this wall for? Valira turns to him sharply, her voice trembling but firm. Don't say that. If we break before the battle starts, Ironvale is already lost. Velcane glances at her, and though his expression is stern, a flicker of approval passes in his eyes. He lifts his blade again, pointing at the monstrous tide drawing nearer with every heartbeat. Whatever he is, Velcane says, voice like iron, we will meet him here, on these walls. And if these monster thinks Ironvale will fall as easily as Watervale, he is mistaken. The horns blare again, and the sound rolls across the city like thunder. The tide of monsters draws closer, 1,000,000 strong, led by a single figure whose shadow seems to swallow the dawn. Chapter 276-275. Submit to me. The tide of monsters halts. Not a claw scrapes, not a fang gnashes. The sea of creatures, beasts, abominations, armored titans, stand utterly still. From the walls of Ironvale, thousands of human eyes stare in disbelief. Valira grips the battlement, whispering, Why aren't they charging? Even Velcane narrows his gaze, his jaw tightening. It looks like they're waiting. Muff frowns. Waiting for what? A signal? Then it happens. A murmur ripples through the ranks of monsters, like a silent pulse. Heads tilt upward. The soldiers of Ironvale follow their gaze. At first, only a dark speck hovers in the horizon sky. Then, slowly, impossibly, it grows. The air thrums with an alien hum, deep and resonant, as though the heavens themselves shudder. What in the God's name is that? One soldier gasps, his voice breaking. The speck swells into form, vast, titanic. As the morning mist scatters, the truth reveals itself. A floating vessel, so massive its shadow could engulf the entire city. Its hull glitters faintly with runes, each the size of towers, carved in patterns no mortal kingdom has ever seen. Valira's breath catches in her throat. Her voice trembles. A flying boat? The warriors on the wall gape in silence. The ash-edged treasured vessel, pride of their clan, is a mere ant compared to this leviathan in the sky. This is no warship. This is an empire unto itself. The older scarred Tier SIX's lips quiver. That thing could crush cities just by landing. From below, Mazel advances with measured steps, his towering frame gleaming with fresh scars that only sharpen his grandeur. His aura swells, vast and indomitable, pressing upon the battlefield like the weight of the heavens. He raises one clawed hand high, and when he speaks, his voice is deep and resonant, carrying with the gravity of a decree. The king has arrived. At once, the 1,000,000 monsters collapse to their knees. The thunderous sound of their armor and limbs striking the ground echoes like an earthquake. Then comes the roar, unified, deafening. All hail King Alex. The walls of Iron Vale tremble under the force of the cry. Dust rains from the stones. Valira is surprised to hear the name of the king of the monster. Alex? She stares down from the battlements, her breath short and uneven. Alex? The name echoes in her mind, sharp and unbearable. She shakes her head violently, her fingers digging into the stone. No, it can't be him. The Alex I knew is human. The king of these monsters can only be a monster. And yet, her heart betrays her. It beats faster, harder, as though trying to leap from her chest. Velkane's brows knit together, his hand tightening around his sword. This doesn't make sense. Why would their king appear here himself? This city isn't worth the risk. Before anyone can respond, the vessel above groans with a sound like the breaking of mountains. A ripple of light tears open beneath its hull, and from it, a lone figure descends. The humans gasp as one. Alex does not fall. He glides, carried by unseen force, each step upon the air deliberate, regal. His presence dominates the heavens. His body shimmers with scales that gleam like deep space, each one catching the light and scattering it like starlight. Between them, faint rivers of energy flow, as if the night sky itself breathes upon his skin. Yet his face is strikingly human, fair and youthful, marred by nothing but the inhuman perfection that makes the soldiers on the wall forget to breathe. Two horns, curved and majestic, rise from his head like a crown forged by gods. His armor burns with faint radiance, a masterpiece beyond mortal craft. Something no human king, no emperor, could ever hope to wear. Even hardened warriors lower their weapons unconsciously. A seeps into their bones, strangling fear with reverence. One soldier whispers, voice breaking, He looks like a god. Another stammers, That can't be immortal. That's divinity itself. Velkane doesn't speak immediately. His sharp eyes follow Alex as the figure lowers, each movement calm, every inch dripping with authority. His soldiers murmur prayers under their breath, some clutching charms, others weeping silently. Finally, Velkane exhales through his teeth. This isn't normal. Kings don't walk to the front lines, especially not kings who command 1,000,000 monsters. Why here? Why now? But no answer comes, because at that moment, Alex's feet touch the ground, and all of Iron Vale goes silent. The earth itself seems to bow when Alex lands, his aura rippling across the battlefield like a silent storm. Even the walls of Iron Vale groan under the pressure. Alex lifts his head, his voice calm yet carrying across the plains as though the world itself amplifies it. Long time no see, Ashedge clan. Confusion erupts at once. Murmurs sweep through both humans and monsters. Long time no see? The words clang strangely in every ear. Velkane doesn't hesitate. He shoots upward, halting in the air still dozens of meters away from Alex. His expression is tight, his tone respectful but edged with disbelief. What do you mean by long time no see? May I know if His Majesty has a past with my clan? Even in the presence of an enemy, Velkane's voice holds reverence, compelled by something deeper than fear. Alex chuckles softly, not mocking, but as if meeting an old friend. His eyes gleam faintly as he lifts his hand. Velkane, good to see you again. Before another word is spoken, his hand brushes across the air. Light ripples, and in the next breath, his monster form is gone. In its place stands a young man, human in appearance, his black hair catching the sun, his face unmistakable to those who knew him. Gasps tear through the Ashedge warriors. Shock spreads like fire. Valira's hand flies to her mouth, her knees weak, her eyes widen until they sting. That face. The same face she once fought side by side. The same human who lifted her clan from the brink of ruin. The boy she had sworn never to forget. Velkane's body stiffens in midair, his voice low, nearly trembling. Are you truly that boy Alex who helped my clan rise to rank 5? Alex meets his gaze without hesitation. Yes, Zanson is living a good life in my kingdom. The name strikes like a thunderclap. Velkane's eyes flare, his doubt crumbling. Only the real Alex would know that name, Zanson. Velkane exhales sharply, his shoulders loosening though his eyes remain cautious. You didn't force Zanson to serve you, did you? You didn't scare him into submission? Alex laughs lightly, genuine amusement in his voice. Haha, I'm not that desperate. No, I gave him knowledge to climb higher than he ever dreamed. He chose to work for me. And if you want, his tone deepens, heavy with promise. I can do the same for you. The Ash-Edge warriors shift uneasily. The humans on the wall stare in frozen silence, unable to process what they are hearing. Then Alex spreads his arms, his presence flaring again like an eclipse swallowing the sun. The reason I came personally is simple. Because of what happened in my adventure here, I decided to give your clan a place. I will give you and the Ash-Edge the chance to be part of my kingdom. The silence is suffocating. Velkane's chest rises and falls slowly, his fists tightening, his wings trembling faintly. Finally, he lowers his gaze, voice steady but low. That is no small choice. I will return with an answer. The tension hangs like a drawn blade, every warrior holding their breath. As Velkane stares at the man who is both savior and enemy, Valira can no longer hold back. She rushes to her father's side the moment he lands back on the wall, her eyes locked on the figure standing on the battlefield. Father, is that really him? Is that truly Alex? Velkane keeps his gaze forward, his jaw set hard. His voice is low, steady, but heavy with meaning. It is. He knows Zanson. And you know, only the three of us ever knew who Zanson was. Valira's lips part, but no sound escapes. Her chest tightens painfully as her eyes fall once more on Alex, who now stands in his reverted monster form, towering and terrible, yet still bearing the traces of the boy she once knew. Her throat burns with questions. Why? Why hide? Why become this? Why do you want to destroy us? But her voice falters. No words come. Chapter 277-276. I challenge you to a duel. Alex's gaze sweeps the walls, his expression unreadable. His eyes linger on Valira for only a heartbeat. Yet in that fleeting moment, her world tilts. It is the same gaze she remembered. Calm, unshaken, piercing. Velkane's silence weighs heavy over the battlements. The warriors of the Ash-Edge clan stand stiff, their eyes darting between the colossal flying vessel above and the lone figure below who radiates an aura no mortal should possess. The air itself seems tighter, harder to breathe. The younger warriors shift restlessly, gripping weapons that suddenly feel too small in their hands. Finally, Velkane exhales, slow and deliberate. His voice cuts through the tense air. I have a plan. Every eye snaps to him. He straightens his back, broad shoulders squaring. His tone is calm, but beneath it is a thread of steel. I know most of you want to fight, and I know the rest of you cannot stomach the thought of submitting to monsters. I am no different. I intended to fight to the very end. A murmur ripples among the warriors, their hearts stirring at the words, but it dies quickly when Velkane's gaze shifts upward to the sky. His eyes harden as he gestures at the shadow that blots the heavens. But after seeing that, and after realizing who stands at its heart, he shakes his head. It is no longer so simple. The silence grows heavier. No one dares interrupt him. Velkane's jaw tightens, but his voice carries steady. Do not forget, it was the same man who helped our clan rise when we were still struggling at the bottom. The same person who gave me the Etherheart fruit. The same person who saved my wife. The words strike deep. The warriors stiffen, their arguments dying in their throats. Valira's eyes widen as she stares at her father. Muv folds her arms, expression tense but unreadable. Velkane's voice drops lower, steadier. I will offer him a duel. One-on-one. If I win, he will leave our clan alone. If I lose, and fall. He pauses, his eyes narrowing, his voice sharp as a blade. Then promise me this. Promise me you will submit. Do not let the Ash-Edge be erased. Father! Valira bursts out, stepping forward, her voice breaking. What are you saying? You can't seriously think you can defeat him. Her eyes shine with a mix of anger and fear. She clutches her chest, her voice trembling. I don't want to lose you, not like this. Velkane does not look at her. His eyes stay fixed on Alex in the distance, the weight of his resolve pressing down on everyone around him. Muv finally speaks, her voice lower, steadier, but no less tense. Are you sure about this, Velkane? You felt it earlier, didn't you? That aura of his. It's not something any of us below peak tier 6 can even contend with. Her words cut like truth, plain and cold. Velkane finally looks at her, and though his expression is calm, his eyes burn with something deeper. I know. His tone is grave, but unwavering. But I cannot let my clan bow without trying. Velkane soars back into the air, closing the distance between himself and Alex. The air trembles with as he got closer, his presence pressing against the silence like a storm trying to break free. He stops only a few meters before Alex, their gazes locking, two rulers standing on the knife's edge of decision. I can't really submit to you without trying, Velkane says, voice low but carrying. So I challenge you to a duel. If I win, you will leave my clan alone. But if you win, I promise you, the Ash Edge will submit. A hush spreads over the battlefield. Even the monsters behind Alex grow still, their snarls dying away as if they, too, are waiting. Alex lets out a long breath. Why? Why not just submit? I can help you climb higher. I can help you reach tier 7. Is it about pride? Or do you simply hate monsters too much to kneel to me? Velkane chuckles softly. Hate monsters? No. If anything, monsters should hate us. We've enslaved them for gods know how long, broke them, chained them, forced them. You've seen it yourself, haven't you? His smile fades into something grim, resolute. As for pride, perhaps. But I do not want to be the leader remembered for bowing to monsters. My daughter. She can lead them better than me when the time comes. Alex shakes his head, a sigh escaping him. His aura dims slightly, as though disappointed but not surprised. So that's it. Then fine. I'll accept. He lifts his hand, calm and deliberate. I'll give you 3 moves first. As long as you injure me even a scratch, you win. After that, I will only attack once. If you can withstand it, you win. Does that sound fair? Velkane's brows shoot up, the offer catching him off guard. You must be so confident in your strength. Alex's lips curve faintly, his eyes half-lidded but steady as mountains. It's not confidence. It's reality. Velkane's jaw tightens, fire sparking in his chest. He grips the hilt of his sword, its blade humming with power, and his aura swells until the very air ripples around him. Then I'll show you what the Ash Edge leader is made of. Alex only spreads his arms slightly, scales catching the light like stars in the night. His tone is calm, almost patient. Come, Velkane. Make your 3 moves count. The 2 figures rise higher, wings cutting through the air with effortless strength. Clouds scatter around them. And yet, from below, every warrior and monster can still see them clearly suspended against the canvas of the sky. The wind howls, stirred not by nature, but by power. Velkane levels his blade, its edge gleaming like a shard of dawn. His voice resonates across the battlefield, deep and unwavering. This is my first attack. The sword trembles, then bursts into a storm of light and gale. Runes flare along the steel, feeding into the torrent of energy that gathers at its tip. The air bends, warps, cracks ripple outward, as though the world itself resists what is about to be unleashed. Tier 6 skill, Tempest Sever. He swings. The heavens split. A blade of compressed wind, sharp enough to cleave mountains, tears through the air. It stretches for hundreds of meters, a crescent of annihilation that screams like thunder as it descends upon Alex. The sheer pressure rips the clouds apart, sends shockwaves crashing down on the battlefield, forcing even peak tier 5 warriors to their knees. The warriors below gape in awe and terror. That strike! It could level a city. One whispers, his voice lost in the storm. Velkane's eyes burn with focus, his sword arm steady, his body blazing with will. The tempest closes the distance in a heartbeat. Unstoppable, absolute. Alex does not move. The storm crashes against him, swallowing his form in blinding light and howling winds. The sky convulses, shattering into rings of energy that ripple outward for miles. The earth below trembles, cracks forming in the distant hills as though struck by an earthquake. For a moment, nothing can be seen. Only a wall of dust, roaring winds, and the aftermath of destruction. Then, the storm clears. Alex stands exactly where he was, arms folded calmly across his chest. Not a single hair is out of place. His cloak flutters gently behind him, untouched by the chaos that had threatened to erase him. Velkane's pupils constrict. His hand tightens around the hilt of his sword. Impossible! Alex's gaze is steady, almost bored, but his words carry down like rolling thunder. 1 strike down. 2 remain. Velkane's chest heaves as the winds he summoned fade into silence. His knuckles whiten around the hilt of his blade, veins pressing against skin. The disbelief in his eyes flickers only for a heartbeat. Then resolve hardens again. He lifts his sword and points it at Alex, the tip trembling not from fear but from the force of power surging through it. My next attack, Velkane says, his voice deep and sharp, will be the strongest tier 6 skill I can muster. The culmination of everything I've honed in my life as a swordsman of the wind. The air reacts before his blade even moves. A pressure builds, sharp and suffocating, forcing warriors on the battlements to cover their mouths and choke down air that feels like knives in their lungs. The sky above swirls, the clouds twisting into a massive spiral. Lightning arcs within the storm, Not of thunder but of pure friction born from wind so sharp it tears the atmosphere apart. Chapter 278. 277. A Quasi-Tier 7 Weapon. Chapter 278. Chapter 277. A Quasi-Tier 7 Weapon. Velcane aura flaring like a hurricane unchained. His sword glows, the runes etched into the steel blazing as though they will melt. Tier 6. Heaven-rending gale. The very heavens scream as his blade carves downward. A cataclysm erupts. From his strike surges a colossal cyclone. A sword-shaped storm hundreds of meters long, layered with countless blades of compressed wind stacked upon one another. Each edge within it is sharp enough to flay the earth, and together they form a storm that could erase a fortress in seconds. The cyclone howls like a dragon of wind, its roar splitting the skies as it descends upon Alex. Every tree, every stone, every loose weapon across the battlefield is ripped into the air, shredded into fragments by the storm's pull. On the ground, the Ash-Edge warriors stumble, some forced to their knees, their faces pale. The clan leader, is this strong? One gasps, shielding his face from the tearing winds. But Velcane's eyes blaze with the resolve of a man who has staked everything. His body strains, veins bulging, blood trickling from his nose and ears as he forces every last drop of his power into the attack. Take this. The world seems to collapse inward as the storm converges, swallowing Alex whole in an explosion that blots out the horizon. The shockwave tears outward, flattening hills, snapping ancient trees, and reducing the battlements to rubble. For long moments, nothing can be seen but devastation. The sky is a yawning wound of whirling gales. Then, the winds fade, the dust settles, and Alex is still there, floating, unmoved. His scales gleam faintly as though the storm had only polished them, his cloak flowing lazily in the aftermath of ruin. Not a single scratch mars his body. Gasps ripple across the Ash-Edge ranks. Some drop their weapons outright, their eyes wide with disbelief. Velcane staggers, sweat pouring down his temples, his breath ragged. His arm trembles from the weight of his own sword. Alex's expression remains calm, his tone unshaken as he speaks, his voice cutting through the silence like thunder. 2 strikes down. 1 remains. Velcane's grip tightens on his blade. His chest rises and falls heavily, each breath a ragged drag of air. The 2 strongest strikes of his life, his pride as a wind swordsman, had vanished against Alex like pebbles cast into the sea. He lowers his head for a moment, eyes shadowed, then draws in a long breath. His voice comes steady, though it carries the weight of desperation. You don't mind me using external help, right? Alex's gaze doesn't waver. His voice is calm, cool, unshaken. Go ahead. Velcane's eyes harden, his tone dropping into something deep, reverent, almost ritualistic. This strike is not my own. It is the hidden card of the Ash-Edge clan, a gift left by our founder. So, his gaze sharpens, voice like iron. You'd best take this seriously. Alex's lips curve faintly, his eyes narrowing ever so slightly. Let's see about that. Velcane turns his gaze downward, toward the heart of the Ash-Edge compound. His voice booms across the battlefield. Warriors of the Ash-Edge clan, lend me your strength. A roar echoes from the walls. One by one, the warriors kneel, pressing their palms to the ground. Energy pours out of them like streams of light, rushing into the core of the fortress. The earth rumbles, stone splits, and from deep within, something ancient awakens. The ground cracks open. Dust and wind spiral upward as a massive sword rises. An ancient relic, its blade weathered yet gleaming with dormant power. The air thrums with violent gales as if the weapon itself breathes the storm. Velcane extends his hand. The relic responds, breaking free from its resting place and soaring into his grasp. The moment his fingers close around the hilt, the sky howls. The sword is heavy, not with weight, but with the will of countless generations. Its runes flare, spilling emerald and silver light into the storm above. Velcane grits his teeth as his body strains under its burden. This is the Windbreaker, the legacy of our founder. The relic vibrates, and power begins to gather at its core. Velcane raises the sword high, and winds spiral violently around him, coalescing into a massive formation that stretches across the heavens. Quasi-Tier 7 skill, Eternal Tempest. Velcane's roar shakes the sky as he thrusts the relic upward. The runes flare brighter than lightning, and the air itself revolts. Winds scream into existence from every corner of the battlefield. Not as blades this time, but as a world-consuming storm. Clouds are shredded into ribbons, the heavens darken, and the ground rumbles as though the entire domain has been placed under siege. The cyclone takes the shape of a dome, a colossal prison of storm, miles wide, sealing Alex within. Inside, the wind rages endlessly, compressing, folding, tearing, until it becomes something akin to a world of storms, an eternal tempest where nothing survives. Velkane's voice carries above the howl, his tone reverent yet strained. This is no mere skill. This storm was carved from the will of our founder. A tempest without end, swallowing all who stand against the Ash-Edge clan. His warriors cry out, their strength still being siphoned into the relic. Streams of force and aura pour into Velkane, who trembles as his body becomes the conduit for the ancient weapon. His veins glow faintly, his wings thrash, and blood sprays from the corners of his mouth. The storm prison shrinks, condensing on Alex. Inside, gales rage at a speed that could strip flesh from bone, collapse lungs and shatter spirit. Tornadoes rise and collapse in seconds, thunder cracks from friction alone, and the very atmosphere is crushed under its own fury. From the outside, nothing can be seen. Only a whirling sphere of unending wind, its scream louder than war drums. The warriors roar with him, their voices nearly lost to the hurricane. Then, from inside the storm, a faint glow shines. It grows brighter, brighter, until it cuts through the endless tempest like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. A calm, steady glow, and then the winds stop. The eternal tempest collapses in on itself with a deafening implosion, scattering into harmless breezes that flutter across the ruined battlefield. Floating in the air, at the eye of where the storm once raged, is Alex, unscathed, cloak unruffled, scales gleaming as though he had been bathed in light, not storms. He tilts his head slightly, his expression unreadable. Then he exhales, a faint curl of disdain escaping his lips. Quasi, Tier 7. Yet not a trace of law in it. Impressive in size, but hollow. His eyes pierce through Velkane. All that noise, and not a single scratch. The battlefield falls into stunned silence. The Ash-Edge warriors, pale and trembling, can't even raise their weapons. Some sink to their knees outright. Velkane staggers, the relic heavy in his hands, his strength drained to the bone. Blood stains his chin, his wings sag. His storm had failed. Alex's voice is steady, cold as judgment. 3 strikes. Your turn is over. On the walls of the Ash-Edge stronghold, despair takes root. The warriors stare in silence, their mouths dry, their knees weak. Muv grips the stone parapet until her knuckles pale. Her voice trembles as she mutters, half in disbelief, half in fear. I don't believe it. Is that monster truly Tier 6? There's no way anyone below Tier 7 could take the eternal tempest unscathed. Beside her, Valira clenches her fists until her nails bite into her palms. She steels herself, repeating over and over in her mind what her father once told her. The path of the clan is greater than the life of any one man. But tears betray her resolve, spilling down her cheeks despite the hard set of her jaw. Back in the sky, the storm has ended. Alex floats in the air, his eyes sharp, his aura calm as a still ocean. He looks at Velkane without malice, but with the detached weight of inevitability. I will not hold back, he says, his tone even, every word ringing across the battlefield like iron striking stone. And I am sure you are going to die in this attack of mine. Velkane steadies himself on the relic sword, chest heaving, but he still manages to smirk. Bring it on. If you hold back, that's the same as you looking down on me. Alex inclines his head slightly, acknowledging the words. Good. Then, 3 circles flare open behind him, each vast and intricate, their runes glowing with different colors. One burns crimson with the fury of flame. Tier 6 skill, Infernal Cataclysm. The air ignites, and a tidal wave of molten fire surges in miniature suns. The second radiates a glacial blue. Tier 6 skill, Absolute Frostfang. The third crackles with violet lightning, arcs splitting the heavens. Tier 6 skill, Heavenly Ruin Bolt. Thunderheads churn into being, bolts the size of towers tearing downward with the promise of annihilation. 3 different elements. 3 different Tier 6 skills. Conjured simultaneously. Gasps erupt from the walls. Warriors stumble back as if the sight itself wounds them. Even the oldest elders, who have seen centuries of battles, cannot comprehend what they witness. No, that's not possible. One whispers, his voice thin. 3 elements? 3 Tier 6 skills. Another stammers. Muv grips the wall harder, her eyes wide. That just doesn't make sense. In this world, it is sacred knowledge. One masters a single element to refine their path, to ascend without discord. To wield 2 is the mark of a genius, so rare that the greatest powers of the realm would wage war to claim them. But 3, perhaps in the central continent such legends exist. Yet in this land, Not once in all recorded history has a soul been born who could command 3 elements and survive their inevitable clash. Chapter 279-278. Make your choice. And worse, Alex doesn't just wield them. He's about to combine them. Velkane's eyes widen, his breath caught in his throat. The eternal tempest had consumed all of him. Yet before him now is a truth so far beyond his comprehension it shatters the foundations of everything he believes. You? What are you? He rasps. Alex's expression doesn't change. His voice is calm, inevitable and final. Your end. The 3-tier 6 formations spin, their energies converging. Flame, frost and thunder, clashing elements that should never harmonize, bend to Alex's will. They collide, not in chaos, but in perfect balance, fusing into something greater. The heavens shake. The battlefield quakes. The sky itself groans as though it cannot contain what is being born. And then the world sees it. An attack not meant for mortals. A miracle stitched from impossible laws. Velkane, his clan, even the monster watching, all of them realize in the same breath. This is no longer a fight. This is a revelation. The 3 circles blaze behind Alex, each vast enough to cover the sky. Fire, frost, and lightning. Opposites by nature. Enemies to one another. Yet here they exist at once, thrumming with raw, unrestrained force. Velkane stares, sweat dripping down his temples. His lips part, words spilling without thought. 3-tier 6. You're fusing them? No, that's not possible. On the wall, the Ash-Edge warriors stagger. One drops his spear outright. Another grabs his head as if to force sense into what he's seeing. That's suicide, Muv cries. The elements will rip each other apart. But they don't. Alex raises his hand, and the circles shift. Slowly, deliberately, he draws them inward, forcing them to overlap. The very air screams at the act, reality twisting, the sky cracking as if it wants to reject this impossibility. The fire circle pulses, its runes burning brighter. The frost circle lashes out, shards breaking off and dissolving into vapor as it presses against flame. The lightning circle convulses, thunder booming in protest. Velkane's knees nearly buckle. He's combining them? Muv's voice breaks, trembling. That's madness. No one could survive that clash. The overlapping edges of the circles spark violently, elements gnashing at each other like beasts locked in a cage. Fire roars, ice hisses, lightning cracks, each trying to consume the others. For an instant, it looks as if the world itself will detonate. But then, Alex speaks, his voice quiet, commanding, as if he were addressing the very laws of existence. Submit. The runes obey. The chaos stills. The 3 circles stop fighting, their patterns aligning into a single rhythm, as though they had always been fragments of one greater design waiting to be united. The battlefield shakes violently. A pressure rolls out so heavy the warriors can't even stand. One by one, they fall to their knees, gasping for breath, their bodies instinctively bowing to the weight of a higher order. Velkane stares, horror in his eyes. No one can force harmony between 3-tier 6 skills. Alex's expression doesn't change. He closes his fist, and the 3 circles collapse inward, fusing. A new circle appears, black-rimmed, luminous, its runes alien and unreadable. From its heart, energy begins to condense. Fire spirals into a molten core. Frost coils around it, shaping and binding it. Lightning races across the form, charging it with unbearable power. The shape grows, elongates, until it becomes a colossal spear, humming like the end of the world. Alex lowers his hand. His tone is steady as if he were announcing simple fact. This is a path none of you will ever reach. A path you cannot even name. Gasps ripple across the walls. The tier 6 next to Muv, his voice cracks as he stammers. He just threw away everything we know about elements. Muv grips the stone parapet so hard blood drips from her palms. Her eyes widen, fear and awe tangled together. That's not tier 6 anymore. Velkane can only whisper, barely able to hold the relic sword in his hands. What are you? Alex meets his gaze, eyes cold, resolute. The end. The fused spear thrums, space warping around it, the battlefield waiting to be rewritten by its strike. The fused spear quivers in the air behind Alex, larger than a siege tower, its shaft woven from flame, its edge honed in frost, its body crackling with violet lightning. Every heartbeat it exists. The sky darkens, the earth trembles, and the battlefield feels as though it teeters on the brink of collapse. Velkane's grip on the relic sword tightens until his knuckles bleed. His wings flare, tattered but defiant, and he raises the blade above his head. His voice is hoarse, cracked, but he still roars. If I am to die, Then I will die as the leader of Ash Edge. Come, Alex. Alex's eyes narrow. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. With a single motion, smooth and inevitable, he hurls the spear. The world breaks. The spear leaves his hand like a star falling from heaven, ripping through the sky with a scream that is neither thunder nor wind but the tearing of reality itself. The air ignites around it. Frost erupts in its wake, and lightning lashes out in jagged veins across the heavens. The impact is instantaneous. Velcane swings the relic sword down to meet it. The eternal tempest flares weakly, a last desperate surge of wind spiraling outward, an explosion of fire that blossoms into a sun, of ice that splinters into glaciers, of lightning that shreds the sky into ribbons. The battlefield is drowned in light. The shockwave rips across the city, pulverizing stone, toppling towers, tearing banners to ash. Warriors are thrown from the walls like leaves before a hurricane, their screams swallowed by the roar. For the briefest instant, spear and storm clash, an eye blink of resistance. Velcane's scream cuts through it, raw and defiant, until it's silenced by the blast. His silhouette burns away in the storm of elements, wings torn to fragments, body consumed in light and lightning. The relic sword shatters into shards of useless steel, its tempest ripped apart like mist in the sun. Velcane vanishes in the brilliance. No body, no bone, not even ash. He is gone before his final scream can leave his throat. The spear doesn't stop at Velcane. The fused spear rages onward. It streaks past the city, tearing through the distant mountain range. And then impact. The world convulses. A sound like the cracking of the heavens itself splits the air. The mountains do not fall. They are unmade, ripped from existence as if erased by the hand of a god. The ground lurches, buckles, and then collapses into a vast wound. When the light clears, the stronghold's defenders can only gape. Before them lies a crater. No, a scar across the world. So vast it dwarfs their city. Its rim glows red with rivers of molten rock, heat rippling into the sky like a furnace. At its center, frost glitters like diamond, an impossible mirror of frozen death locking the heart of the destruction in ice. Lightning crawls endlessly through the ruin, coiling, striking, never fading, as if the spear's fury refuses to die. The mountains are gone. Entire peaks, ridges, forests, all annihilated. Velcane, leader of the Ash Edge clan, is nothing. Not a fragment. Not even ash. Silence falls. Muv's hands tremble as she grips the wall. Her voice hoarse, thin, barely human. He erased the mountains. Another warrior stumbles back, face pale, eyes wide with terror. Not even the Quasi-Tier 7 relic could stop it. The silence after the cataclysm lingers, broken only by the crackle of lingering lightning in the ruin beyond the walls. Alex descends slowly, the dust and heat parting around him as though they dare not touch him. His boots strike the stone wall with steady rhythm, until he comes to stand before the battered defenders. Every warrior there shrinks back under his gaze. Their weapons feel like twigs, their courage like smoke. None dare speak. Alex turns his eyes, not on them but on Valira. Her face is streaked with tears, her chest rising and falling unevenly. She doesn't look like the proud warrior she was hours ago. She looks hollow, torn between grief and disbelief. Alex's voice is calm, unshaken. What now? Do you want to avenge your father? Or uphold the deal? Valira's lips part, but no sound comes. Her eyes are red, swollen, wet. Yet beneath the tears, Alex can see it. The light inside her is dimming, retreating into something emptier. She whispers, her voice breaking, her body trembling as though even standing is unbearable. Alex, are you really this cruel? Was everything you did for my clan, for me, just an act? Her words cut, not because of their sharpness but because of their helplessness. She is not only mourning her father, Velcane, proud and defiant to the end, but also mourning her own illusions. Her first love, the man she thought she knew, is a monster in human skin. Worse still, that monster is the one who ended her father's life. Hello everyone, this is Shadow. Due to copyright restrictions on YouTube, I can't publish many of the audiobooks you love. That's why I've created a special paid service where you can enjoy over 300 high-quality audiobooks from platforms like Webnovel, Pocket FM, Audible, Wuxia, and more. Each novel comes as a one-time purchase, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. After payment, you'll receive full access via Telegram, along with all future updates for that novel. You'll find a wide selection of your favorite genres and titles, always in premium audio quality. Check the full list of available novels in the description. DM me now to get your favorite stories in audiobook form and start listening today.